In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus.
Good morning. Yesterday we saw where Jesus told a parable. And I said, you got to be careful when you look at parables because they are basically intended to make one or two general points that are very profound, but you usually cannot make a one-to-one application. For example, the one we looked at yesterday talked about slaves and servants and masters. Well, God's not our master, and we're not slaves and servants. God is a loving Father, and we are His children that He absolutely adores and can't get enough of. So we look at the parable to see what the general application is. What is the general point that Jesus is trying to make here? And it's very clear. God is rewarding the believers. And the unbelievers, in the long run, it will be a punishment by God for them. Today is something of a difficult scripture as well. I'm in Luke chapter 12, and today is verses 49 through 53. And they say this, I have come to cast fire upon the earth, and how I wish that it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and how distressed I am until it is accomplished. Jesus is talking about his going to the cross. He's not looking forward to it. You remember his prayer in the garden? He says, Lord, if there's any way that we could do it differently, let's do that. But there wasn't. And so he said, I am willing to do what I have to do to bring these folks into unity with us. So I'll do it. But I am not looking forward to it. And that's what Jesus says here in verses 49 and 50. And then he goes on to say, do you suppose that I came to grant peace on the earth? I tell you no. Rather, I came to bring division. For from now on, 5 members in one household will be divided. 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son and son against father. They will be divided, mother against daughter and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. What is Jesus talking about here? Didn't we see when we looked at the beginning of Luke how when Jesus was born, the angels came and they said, peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Well, absolutely. Jesus came and sacrificed on the cross to take away all our sin so that there's peace now between us and God the Father. But what Jesus is talking about here is a peace on the earth that gets divided because there will be believers and there will be unbelievers. And the unbelievers in pride will reject the believers. Cheryl and I have been rejected because there's much religion out there that is not about Jesus. And Jesus came to sacrifice that there would be no religion. There would be unity with God Himself, receiving His love, and then loving Him back with the very love that He loves us with. Jesus' death opened the door for that, and not many understand that, and many in pride will not receive the love of God. Jesus said, you will be persecuted if you really believe. I remember one time I was working for a nonprofit organization, and I was having a cup of coffee with one of the board members. And the board member said, Dave, you need to tone it down. Most of us are just regular Christians, not born again like you. Well, can you see the division? Jesus said, you must be born again. So my heart broke for that woman. I am concerned for her salvation. There's no such thing as a regular Christian. You're not even a Christian unless you're born again. Now that's what Jesus said. It's John chapter 3 verses 1 through probably verse 8. It's very clear. You cannot be flesh. You got to be spirit. And the only way your spirit comes alive is by you being born again. And so there's division there between me and that board member. But oh, how I pray for them to be born again as well. See, that's what we need to do. Pray for those that we're divided from. But the division might even be family, might even be friends. Pray for the unbelievers and embrace the reality of our unity with God. Oh, walk boldly in that unity. And I look forward to being with you tomorrow. We'll talk some more. I'll see you then.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world, but give me Jesus.